Hello, my name is Grant Kramer and I am a professor emeritus at the University of Nevada, Reno. This is my fifth video in my Grape Varietal series, and today we will be talking about Riesling.
Riesling makes world-class white wines, and it has this outstanding potential for our northern Nevada region. It is the number one grape variety that I would recommend for our region. Riesling is an ancient vine that is thought to come from the Rhine River region in Germany. We know that one of its parents was Gouais Blanc, the same parent that helped to produce Chardonnay, so Riesling and Chardonnay are siblings of each other. The other parent is unknown, but expected to be some grape variety that maybe no longer exists in the German region. Common synonyms are Johannesburg Riesling or white Riesling, and popular locations for where it's grown around the world are in Germany. It's the number one grape grown in Germany. The Alsace region, which is the northeast on the border between Germany and France, on the northeast of France. Australia and the Clare Valley, Austria, and Washington State. It likes a cool climate. As you can see on the right here, it has a wide range anywhere from between 13 to 15 degrees centigrade up into the intermediate range of 15 to 17 degrees. So it's grown largely in a Region 1 type area as classified by the California system with 2,500 growing degree days or below. It's a very cold hardy grape. It likes cool days and cool nights that go on long into the season or fall, which will help to produce ideal wines. It can be grown on slate soils or even clay soils, as is done in Germany. It has moderate vigor. The leaves have 5 lobes with shallow to moderately deep U-shaped sinuses, and the petiolar sinus has overlapping lobes. The leaf also has a tooth margin. The clusters are tight. Berries are slightly obloid, light green to golden yellow, thin-skinned, and small. It's a productive grape, 3 to 6 tons per acre. It's grown with a vertical shoot positioning system. It has a later bud break and ripening period, and I say later based on our region, where it doesn't quite break bud at the same time as Cabernet Sauvignon, a little bit before that, but at least a few days after most of the other varieties. At Valley Road, our season was typically anywhere from end of April, beginning of May to mid-October. We never fully ripened our grapes based on the Brix level of 24, as we could only grow grapes between the Brix ranges of about 21 to 23 at harvest, anywhere between early October to mid-October. So approximately 170 days to fully ripen up the grapes. The TA ranged from between 6 and 8, depending on the year, the heat, and the length of the season. Shorter seasons would produce a higher acid because the acid declines with time. So 6 would be in a good year, 8 would be in a short year. These are grapes here from our Valley Road vineyard. Vines down below are early growing after just breaking bud. And then this is grapes at our harvest time up above. The fruit and wine characteristics of Riesling are highly reflective of the environmental conditions in which they're grown in. Thus, it's very responsive to what we call the terroir, which may include the soil, but also the climate in the area. So the flavor characteristics are going to be very reflective of where the grapes are grown and when they're harvested. Some of the aroma and flavor descriptions, therefore, are pretty broad because of the different regions in which they're grown and the characteristics that they have when they're a young wine versus an older wine. So it's a very aromatic grape and produces aromatic wines with aromas of apple, pear, citrus, peach, apricot, floral, rose petal, honey, maple, spice, flinty or mineral, and petrol. Petrol is a real aroma of this grape, It's produced by a compound called TDN for short, or 1,1,6-trimethyl 1,2-dihydronaphthalene. This is what produces the petrol aroma. You can see it up here in the top right-hand corner of this figure. And the amount of this aroma is dependent on the age of the wine. As it's older, you get more of this character. It's also based on the maturity of the grape and also whether the grape has been drought stressed or not, or exposed to high light. We found at UNR in our experimental vineyard that we produced more of this compound with grapes that were drought stressed. The grapes produce a light white color wine. Linalool is another compound that's important in Riesling. Most grapes have linalool. It's a volatile terpene, but it's in much higher concentrations and a characteristic of Riesling wines. Linalool produces a floral or a spicy or a citrus aroma. This is based upon whether it's mixing with other compounds that might alter your perception of that characteristic, or maybe that your own sensitivity to that aroma is affected and thus changing your perception. This compound is more prevalent in younger wines. Other interesting facts about Riesling are that you can make multiple styles of wine, from a dry wine that doesn't have any residual sugar in it to semi-sweet, or a dessert wine, which would be a sweet wine with a significant amount of residual sugar. Ice wines are another type of wine made from Riesling. These wines can only be called ice wines in the United States if the grapes are frozen on the vine. Sometimes these grapes can also have botrytis, which is a fungus or mold that will change the characteristics. It's referred to often as noble rot. So grapes are frozen at about 18 degrees Fahrenheit or lower, or -8 degrees centigrade on the vine. This causes dehydration of the grapes and increases the sugar content of the grape. So when you press the frozen grapes, you will get less water in the grapes, higher concentration of sugar, and therefore get what we call these ice wines, which are typically sweet with a fair amount of residual sugar left in them, because even if you tried, you could not ferment all of that sugar. The alcohol content would be too high and kill the yeast. Another important fact about Riesling wines is that they can age a long time, some up to 30 years, particularly for sweet wines. For the less sweet wines, the dry wines, maybe 10 to 15 years. This is unusual for a white wine to be able to be aged for this length of time. Typically, a white wine would last only a few years, maybe 3, maybe 4, before it's seriously declined in its character. There are 60 plus clones in Germany and 20 plus clones in the United States at the Foundation Plant Services in California. So if you are interested in different kinds of clones, you can go to the site at UC Davis for FPS and look at the different clones that they have available. Here you can see a few examples of different types of cluster shape and color of the berries. So as I mentioned earlier, Riesling has outstanding potential for northern Nevada. And the reason I say this is, first of all, that Nevada Sunset Winery, a Reno winery, was awarded Best of Class for Riesling in the San Francisco Chronicle Wine Competition in 2021. And this wine was made from northern Nevada grapes grown at our UNR experimental vineyard, as well as another vineyard out east of Reno. Another reason that I think this has outstanding potential and is the number one choice for our northern Nevada region is the fact that it is the most cold hardy vinifera variety that we were able to grow at our experimental vineyard of the 17 different grapevine varieties that we tried at the Valley Road experimental vineyard. And by far the most cold hardy. Gewürztraminer was the second closest, but Riesling over 25 years produced year in and year out with very little injury. And when there was some injury to some grapevines, there was no injury to Riesling. And when there was more injury to most of the vineyard, the Riesling fared the best. So for that reason alone, and the fact that it makes a good wine, makes it a number one choice for our region. Another important fact is that it is a versatile wine that can be made in different styles. So in summary, Riesling has outstanding potential for Northern Nevada. It is my number one choice for Northern Nevada region. It has a later bud break and ripening. The later bud break is beneficial for avoiding spring frost. The later ripening is a bit of a problem, but that can be taken care of by altering your winemaking practices. It is productive and cold hardy, and it makes world-class, outstanding wines, even from our Northern Nevada grapes. Its best wines come from cool climate regions like ours.
Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more videos in this series or on other videos of viticulture and wine, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a great day.